Being a gang member is cool and all until it's time to do some gang member shit. Everybody want to be a gang member for some reason, but nobody want to take the risks that come with being a gang member. There's probably some gang members watching this video right here, but it is what it is, because I'm going to drop that real spill. For this video here, I'm going to be talking about how gang members sacrifice their own to prevent a war inside a prison.
I'm the best, finna be this way till I EOS. Take it how you want, nigga, yeah, I'm a pro. Fuck around and bust your lot while you're at Vizzo. I hate to be this way, but I live for the moment. Waking up every day, show me an opponent. Shanks on deck, hitting bitch with locks. So much pool, I can even start you from the box. You don't wanna pay rent, got me bent. Got lax on deck, your money was well spent. Vultures on the prowl, so don't try testing. Step 2 comes violent, first steps finessing. You a hold down man, suitcase this. My cell phone, I'm a charger, don't walk with a limp. Get it knocked off or missing, you gon' get it. Next time I see you ass, you gon' leave airlifted.
What's up, y'all? You already know, man. K-Fraud TV back in the building. Y'all go ahead and do me that solid favor, man. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe button, and also make sure you hit that notification bell so you can see it first. Welcome back to the channel, y'all. If this is your first time tuning in over here on K-Fraud TV, my name's Frog, and everything I talk about is about jail, prison, juvenile detention facilities, etc. Real spill. It could even be about the streets. You know what I'm saying? You never know what you're gonna get when you tune in the Frog. My schedule's been a little, iffy here and there, because I'm a single dad, but hey, at the end of the day, I'm still trying to show up when I can. For this video, I want to talk about how gang members actually, are known to sacrifice their own kind inside a prison to prevent wars with other organizations. Now, the reason I want to speak on this topic is I got multiple people locked up that I know, like my dogs, that literally have went through some shit about their own kind, leaving them hanging in that water. I've seen people get left in that water during serious situations by the same people they was rocking out with before the shit occurred, okay? I had a homeboy of mine, he was a blood, and he was stabbing people, airlifting people, making people get put on helicopters, taking that ride on a helicopter. He was airlifting people like this on the compound I was at for his gang. Some shit hit the fan, he ended up getting poked up, and he got put in confinement. Whole time he's in confinement, he's sending the kites out there. Man, what's up, man? Y'all finna eat him? Yelling out the windows, hey man, what's up? Hey blood, da, 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 da. And they left them in that water. They ain't handle up like they was supposed to handle up. You see, they turned their back on them. And I seen it happen with multiple organizations, not just one. They're known to do this. It's a tactic, okay? So there's that saying where every brother ain't your brother. So you gotta be very, sure you wanna be a part of an organization, because you might be cool with the inmates that are around you. The people surrounding you make you feel so at home and so welcome. Even if you came home on the streets to the gang, whatever it is, the people around you make you feel so welcome, make you feel like it's y'all against the world. Nobody could come between y'all, right? So you're like, man, this is the closest bond I've had with one of my dogs ever. So if this ain't no real brother shit, then nothing ever will be. And you think, oh, I should be in the gang like they're in, or I could be a part of what they are. We could stand by this shit. We could rep this shit. We could, tear the walls off about it. But what you fail to realize is you're not always going to be around them individuals. You get what I'm saying? And even if you are, you meet other ones along the way. If you go to prison, jail, move to a different state, you're in the streets thugging it, wherever you go, you're going to run across people who are also repping the same thing as you. But y'all ain't got the same vision. Y'all don't see eye to eye. Y'all ain't cool with each other because you want to be. Y'all are cool with each other because you got to be. You see what I'm saying? So you might find yourself running into a high percentage amount of people who rep the same gang as you that you don't get along with. Before you know it, you're like, you want to take a step back. You know what I'm saying? And you could be the most solidest gang member. You could be 1,000. You could be live, sleep, eat, and shit and die about this organization. You know what I'm saying? And you can meet other people who are the same way, or you can meet other people who, take it as a joke and don't take it as severe, or people that do take it real and they mess up along the way. You're gonna meet so many different characters repping and pushing the same thing as you. You feel me? So to make you feel like you're a part of something, but you won't always get along with them individuals, okay? And it's happened so many times that they leave their own kind out in that water, and because they don't want to get into a war with another organization. Now, you got to kind of take it with a grain of salt and expect that. You see what I'm saying? You got to understand there's reasons behind why they sacrifice their own, right? So you would feel like, okay, well, if you got one out of all the other ones, we're all over here making money. We're all eating. We're all doing everything we got to do. But we got this one brother that wants to fuck the money up. Fuck it. Let them eat him. Get rid of our problem, right? You were like, you know, he's stepping on our toes. He's ruining the chance of all of us to eat. He's the only problem. He can't get in, you know, place with the program. So shit, get him out of here. Let them eat him, right? That's what you would think. But it isn't always about money. You know, sometimes they do it just because the prison itself is such a relaxed spot. It's such a good place to hang out, no problems, you know, or they just have it made where they're at. The guards let more shit slide. You never really know what it is that they will literally sacrifice their own to prevent a war. You see, so you'd be like, damn, I done stabbed about this damn, you know what I'm saying, this gang. You know, I done got stabbed about this gang. Vice versa. And now my brothers are leaving me hanging. All because of what? And then when you find out the reason for it, you're like, damn. So after all this work I put in, and as long as I've been rocking and riding and putting on for this organization, now I'm getting left in that water. All because these inmates like how sweet this institution is. My brothers ain't gonna rise up and rock behind the gang like they're supposed to have my back, like I've had theirs my entire life. And you're gonna leave me hanging in that water? It just shows how it goes. You feel me? And you got people that, like, at the end of the day, they'll end up, you know, being hurt because they put 20 plus years in sometimes about these gangs. That's just how it goes when you're locked up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not only talking about the people that just became a gang member. I'm talking about people that got years in under their belt. People that have been through multiple wars, multiple riots, multiple standoffs, multiple head-up fights, multiple violations, jumping people in, like real deal, know their literature, been through the worst. All they know is their gang. And they get left to sacrifice by their own kind sometimes, you know? And I feel like through all the different gangs I've seen while I was locked up, the most loyalist ones are the Chicos. The Latin Kings was the loyalist people I've ever came across while locked up, you know? And they're gonna ride for theirs, you know what I'm saying? And it ain't always gotta be their gang either. They're gonna ride for the color of the skin too. You know what I'm saying? That's just, as long as that inmate's gonna defend himself, they'll stick up for him. Brown pride, you know what I'm saying? They're gonna rock with them. You gotta be prepared. If you catch static with one of them, you better be prepared to catch static with all of them, okay? Because they're gonna rock, you know what I'm saying? And they're gonna pull out some shit like this, you know, that goes through you. Goes in the front, comes out the back. Goes in the back, comes out the front. You see what I'm saying? So you got to make sure you're willing to rock if you find yourself in a situation going against these individuals, right? Loyalty goes a long way. But I will say this. Regardless who was the loyalist gang while I was locked up, I also seen cutthroat stuff. I also seen people leave their own kind to be sacrificed. And that goes with any race out there. Any race, any gang, any organization, I've seen them leave their kind out there for certain reasons. All had different reasons, you know, and I always took it like as a flaw thing, you know, because when you hear about gangs growing up, you only hear the cool shit. You know, everything sounds cool until you see it. You know, when you start seeing it, you know, and you start seeing what they do, what they get away with, how they react, it kind of like makes you wishy-washy about the gang stuff for real. You know what I'm saying? But you coming a gang member, after you became it, it's too late to think it's wishy-washy now because you're already one. You see what I'm saying? That's why you're stuck repping the shit that you truly don't want to rep. So after a while, more and more of it shows you don't want to rep it no more because you don't believe in the shit that they believe in now. You feel like the people you're rocking with isn't who you should be rocking with. At that point, you just want to fall back and just be left to yourself. And that's the best thing because think about it. If you're by yourself and you get in a situation and you get stabbed up, you seen it coming, you already knew to expect it because you were by yourself, so you sacrificed yourself. But if you're in a gang, now you get into it with another gang. So if there's 25 of y'all and 25 of them, but now you get into it with that gang and them 24 on your side turn their back on you, now you're 1 against 25. Now they sacrificed you, not you. You feel me? And I felt like the way it should be, and I've seen it done at certain camps, is the gang themselves should be the one to take out their own kind. They don't want no other organization getting that trophy. You get what I'm saying? Like, your kind messes up, y'all get them out of there. You know, but sometimes people just want to pay other gangs to just knock off their own kind and shit like that. You feel me? It's a quicker way to do it without them knowing it was you. You feel me? Without it coming back on you for flipping your own kind. It's kind of like they just send the bread off to some other gang or some other neutrons, which is people who don't gangbang, and have them come knock off whoever it is, their own kind, wet them up, do whatever. And then when they're in confinement looking for the reinforcements to back them, that's when their kind turns their shoulder. So it's like, damn, my own kind sent them boys at me. You know, they don't think that at first. They just think, damn, my own kind ain't riding for me after I got wet. You feel me? But really, it's because 9 times out of 10, they low-key the ones that sent that shit. And that's how it is, you feel me? That's why you got to be careful when you're locked up. On the streets in general. Because it can happen. And I've seen the littlest situation turn bad for people. I've seen people who put in work in an organization for 15 plus years get in one itsy bitsy little like situation against somebody else, and then their other kind don't want to rise and stick for it. Next thing you know, they leave him in that water. Everything that he just worked for, everything he grinded up to be, all out the window, getting sacrificed, all by his own kind. You see, because they didn't want war. You know what I'm saying? The white boys, I know on the West Coast, they got the woods or whatever they are, and they're big, you know, and they run prisons in certain places and stuff like that. I know that. On the East Coast, it is not like that, okay? Over here, they got the Unforgivens. You know what I'm saying? And when I was in prison, they didn't have people walking around saying they were woods and stuff like that. You know, that's West Coast. Now, there might be a couple down here. You know, they might, you know, I don't know how it is nowadays. But when I was in there, they didn't have a clique of them. They had Unforgivens. You see what I'm saying? And when you got people that will throw their own under the bus, to me that's a red flag regardless what color you are. Now, I've seen multiple times, and I'm white, I've seen multiple times my own race throw their own kind under the bus because they don't want to go to war with other organizations. Which, down here in Florida, the way it is that with the skin color, you know, we're outnumbered, the white people in general. So you might have, let's just say 7 gangs on the compound, and just say 3 of them have 30 plus numbers, right? And then say the other 3 have, I don't know, let's just say 20 plus numbers. Then that last 7th gang, the Unforgivens, the white gang, they might have 7 inmates that are, you know, there might only be 7 of them on the compound. See, so they're outnumbered, you know, as far as when it comes to gangs numbers. And definitely the white race itself is outnumbered when it comes to the, you know, the statistics of race colors of how many inmates are in prison. You see what I'm saying? So they off rip a lot of times throw their own kind under the bus. They literally, because the other gangs walk around, and I've heard this multiple times straight to me. I had my dog tell me, that was a Z. He said, oh, we'll eat them boys off the compound for the hell of it if they want to get involved. It's like an appetizer compared to the dinners they're trying to eat. They're trying to eat these other gangs that got 20 plus numbers. Then you got this other gang that ain't gonna say nothing. They know they ain't gonna say nothing because there's only 7 of them. You feel me? Now, you might have some real, you know, down to earth, real badass individuals in that gang out of them 7 inmates that's really to rock and stand on business. But when you're talking numbers, you know, numbers is numbers. So it's like, even if them 7 tried to stand up against them 30, right? Next to all the other gangs and to the people that aren't affiliated, the color alone is going to make people rise. You get what I'm saying? It's going to make it think, oh, the white boys are trying to take over the compound. Okay, they're doing what? Okay, and then now people who aren't even affiliated that are different color are going to be against the white boys. Then you're going to have the other gangs that don't want beef with the gang that's going against the white boys. They're going to try to back that gang also. So now you got 30 just turning into 60. 2 gangs now after them 7. You see? So it's kind of like, at the end of the day, there's only so much you could do, you feel me? And that's how it is down here in Florida, you know, because we don't go off of colors. You know, it isn't like you can't eat with the blacks if you're white, you can't eat with the whites if you're black. It's not, you know, no politics like that down here in Florida. Everybody's around everybody. But when that shit hits the fan and it's time to, you know, rumble or crumble, a lot of people crumble, okay? And they throw their own out there. That's why I wanted to make this video, you feel me? And I've been to one institution where I seen the white boys handle up. But every time I'd see them handle up, it was against their own. Them boys were always fighting each other, giving each other violations for getting high and doing drugs, or he took something from him, like fighting each other and stuff like that. And then the other people are just sitting around watching it, laughing, until they're getting tired of the attention from the guards in the dorm. Now they're like, okay, y'all pipe that shit down. We're about to stab y'all and get y'all both the fuck out of here. That's literally how it was going in Florida when I did time, okay? But there is some real white boys out there, don't get me wrong. You know, there is ones that bump 1,000, you know, that stand on business. But it makes it to where when they come in there and they see the only handful of, you know, family they really got in there, you know, when they see the ones that are like in position of calling shots, when they see the shots that are being called and the bowing down and different things, it makes them want to fall back from their own kind. You see what I'm saying? And I feel like that's a gang that gets swept under the rug inside of prison in Florida. The whites, you know? And I'm not saying that to diss nobody or anything, of course, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just speaking real. I'm speaking facts, you know what I'm saying? And if you're someone that did time here in Florida and you're any other race than white, feel free to drop it in the comment section that I'm speaking facts. You feel me? And that's not my fault. You know, it isn't. It's just the way it is down here. You get what I'm saying? I don't really know how else to explain that. But they literally will leave their own kind out there, you know? So every other gang, but I'm speaking on the one that I seen do the shit the most. It's kind of like he messed up. He was doing drugs. He shouldn't have been. Okay, they want to beat him up now because he caused attention and got the guards in the dorm. So fuck it, let them jump him. And just let people jump on their own brothers. Let them just, because they're outnumbered. You get what I'm saying? And when you look at like the other gangs, you know, like the GDs, you look at the Crips, you know what I'm saying? I already mentioned Bloods and the Latin Kings. But when you look at the GDs, the Crips, the Cutthroats, you know, Cutthroats alone, their name speaks for itself. And I fought with the Cutthroats because they living like that. But their name speaks for itself. Cutthroat, you feel me? They cross their own. You know what I'm saying? So if they got to leave one out in that water, they will leave one out in that water. You see what I'm saying? And when it comes to the GDs and the Crips, normally they lock in with each other. They shake up together and everything and make 8-ball. And they lock in together. So when one gets in the beef, the other one gets in the beef. You feel me? But then next thing you know, when the beef hits the fan, say you got the Bloods, right? Say the Bloods got 30 individuals. And the Kings got 30 individuals, right? Then you got the GDs and the Crips. But they're not even close to 30. So to prevent themselves from, you know, getting, you know, knocked off the pound by getting every single one of them like stabbed up and, you know, knocking the whole gang off the pound, just clearing them off the pound because they're low numbers, they'll click up. So then say this one had 15 and this one had 10. Now there's 25. So now they're kind of closer to 30. You see what I'm saying? And then that's the same thing when the Kings and the Bloods shake up because of the 5. They all come together. Now you got 60. You see? So it's like, that's what gangs are known to do. You feel me? But when that shit hits the fan, that's when people kind of like fall back. So you got the GDs and the Crips. They'll lock up and rep each other and shit and shake up. And the Cutthroats. It's like the Crips and the GDs like lock it up and call it, and they're cool. And then you got the GDs call the Cutthroats their brothers. So then it's kind of like now you got 3 of them that are together. But the Cutthroats and the Crips will go at it with each other. You feel me? But then like the Cutthroats and the GDs are straight. And then they're straight. So they kind of like fuck with each other on the face of the GD being the middleman. But now you got 3 gangs that got to hold together just to have the numbers to compete with this gang. See what I'm saying? That's how they do it. But then when shit hits the fan, say a Crip got stabbed by a Blood, it ain't always guaranteed that the GDs and the Cutthroats are going to ride. You know what I'm saying? Because it's kind of like they're like, shit, as long as it wasn't a Cutthroat or as long as it wasn't a GD, we fall back. You know, then they kind of like make sacrifices. Like, okay, well, wasn't us, wasn't them, it was them. Yeah, we were partnered with them, but they ain't from our set. They're not really one of us. So fuck it, that's between them and them. Now you just left them in the water. Now you got 17 Crips against 30 Bloods. Look at the odds. The Crips would lose. You see? That's how they usually do it. But they sacrificed them. They left them in that water because they didn't want to stay united when there was no, how it was when there was no beef. They don't want to stay united now that there's beef. Now that there's going to be something. They don't want to stay united and it cause a war. So they sacrifice their own. You see, that's how it goes. With any race, any gang, it doesn't matter what it is. That's how it goes down in Florida. I don't know about on the West Coast. So if anybody's watching this video and you're from the West Coast, don't think I'm speaking wrong, because I'm letting you know I'm not talking about the West Coast. I'm talking about the East Coast, is where I did time at. You feel me? I know a lot of YouTubers, when they speak, they say this is how prison is, and they don't verify what coast. I'm talking about the East Coast, where it doesn't matter if you're white, black, Spanish, Asian, you're all in the same gang. You can have a blood run in there that's white. You can have a Latin King that run in there that's black, that's white. You know, like they just, all the gangs together, hit licks together, rob people together, steal, stab, fight. It's just, it's all, everything's everywhere when it comes to doing time in Florida. You know what I'm saying? So let me make that clear. I'm not talking about the West Coast. I'm talking about the East Coast, all right? And be prepared, if you were a gang member, to be sacrificed, man. Because it isn't if you get sacrificed, it's when you get sacrificed. It's only a matter of time. That's how I look at it. I feel like it's only a matter of time. It doesn't matter how long it's been, how long you put in work. I feel like one day it'll happen. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy because I've seen a couple people that was locked up down here from Cali. Like my homeboy Hot. He was from Cali. He used to say, I'm from Bompton. I'm from Bompton. Really, he was saying Compton, but he was a blood. You feel me? So he was a 4-5 Bix Pyru, matter of fact. And he and him, they wanted to, the Bloods down here wanted to eat him just because he was from the motherlands. But it really, I would think he gets fucking like God treatment, because he's from where y'all shit really came from. But no, it's not like that. You see what I'm saying? You got a lot of woods on the West Coast, like I said. I feel like if they came down here and flooded the prison system with the woods, I feel like it's gonna go two ways. One, they're not even gonna bang it, because they're gonna see how flawed it is down here and how people ain't standing on business or repping their shit. They're gonna see how, I'll take that back. Not that they're not gonna bang it. They won't mess with their own kind locked up. Let's just say that. If they came from down here, from up there, and seen the whites in here, they won't even fuck with their own kind. Why? Because I feel like their own kind would do the same thing. The ones in Florida down here wouldn't be cool with them. They'd probably leave them in that water, because they'll feel like, oh, this gang and that gang's gonna stab them. Look how they do their time. Like, it's just crazy how they are. You know, I feel like when people rep the same shit, or when people are standing on the business the same, I feel like regardless, I don't give a damn what color you are, we all bleed the same. So I feel like it shouldn't be that deep to where there's no loyalty, because there is loyalty, but it's a thin line of loyalty. That shit runs out, you know. And I hate to say it, but there's a lot of people that get sacrificed off of like misunderstandings, wrongfully judged, lies, rumors. You see what I'm saying? And it'll never stop. There's gonna be people that go through things that are like 1,000 all the way, ruin their whole life, waste their whole life getting in trouble, standing on business about this gang, just to get to the farthest you can go, which is prison. Think about it. The worst they could do to you in life, you can't say kill you, because you're dead. The worst they could do is lock you up. So that's the farthest you can really go. You're gonna do good and just be like a soldier your entire time, your entire life, ruin your whole 20s. There go your 20s, gang banging. There go your 30s, gang banging. Get all the way up there. Next thing you know, something's gonna happen somehow to where you get sacrificed. Whether it's you did something that they don't believe in now, so they leave you in that, you know, water. Or you're not banging as hard as you once was because you're older now, so they leave you in that water and they send somebody at you. Or the young bucks got new laws and new orders or new whatever in their chapters, and you don't stand or believe on that shit, so then they get you wet up and stabbed up because you ain't rocking with them no more. You see, like, I feel like it has the same ending regardless. You know, that's eventually. If you make it to your 60, 70, then hey, you just had a longer run. But that sacrifice will come one day. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel. Regardless what organization it is, I feel like I said, it isn't if you get sacrificed, it's when. So that's why I wanted to do this video. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Have you ever seen somebody get sacrificed by their own kind? Have you ever seen somebody turn their shoulder and let another kind, you know, eat their brother or whatever because they didn't want war. Because every institution you go to, there's people scared of war. You know, that's what it is. That's survival tactics kick in, and people, you know, now they want to, you know, be all, you know, perfect and shit because now shit's real. But before, you walk around a chain gang like you're built for it. You see? That's how it goes inside a prison. I want to come on here. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in the comment section. You know, Frog spits nothing but that real spill. And I literally just had a homeboy of mine that literally is going through it right now as we speak, that is in prison right now. And he called me and was telling me and gave me the rundown and shit. And I'm like, damn, that's crazy. The whole situation. So I'm like, man, you know, I got to make a video breaking it down how gang members sacrifice their own to prevent a war with other gangs. So y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in the comment section. I appreciate y'all being patient with me and rocking with me and wait for me to post a video, even though my life is crazy out here being a full-time dad. But hey, all I can do is show up, right? But like I said, man, like I always say, make sure you keep them rat squares, clowns, chomos, pedos, gunners, wannabe island boys, and clout chasers out your circle. And until next time, this the one and only, I am my team, Frog.